Here's the full accounting of their 10 meetings. The first one was in Monte Carlo 2019. The last one, Shanghai last fall. 7 of the 10 have been on hard courts. Only twice in the 10 meetings has Taylor gotten a set off of Novak. One of those was the 5-setter in Australia a few years back. But Taylor says he feels like he's starting to chip away.
In my head, I'm not thinking about all the losses I had to Novak when I was like, I don't know, like 5 years ago. And like I was nowhere near the level of player that I am now. You know, what I'm thinking about fresh in my mind is like when we played at World Tour Finals, that one and the one in Shanghai last year. And in those ones, I, served for the set in the World Tour Finals. I had set point serving in Shanghai. Like I know that in the most recent matches we've had, there's been looks, and I just haven't been able to make it happen in the important moments of those matches.
So still optimism from Taylor despite the 10-0 head-to-head. Now, the one thing that is immutable in his game, which has been really good this week, is his serve.
Yeah, and Taylor's going to need it today against Novak. We always talk about Novak as being the best returner, statistically speaking. How can Taylor continue to win all the free points off his serve? For the tournament, he's winning about 80% of his first serve points. Can that continue against Novak? Novak finds ways to get returns back in play. And against Fritz, he finds ways to get Fritz then off balance. It could be short chips. It could be off the court. Fritz has got to be able to dominate in his service game so then he can relax and play more aggressive in his return games.
He had 14 aces in his last match against Tomas Mahac. Jim, what do you like the most about Taylor's serve?
Well, it's just a weapon, flat out. He trusts it, and if I'm Paul and if I'm Mike Russell, I'm saying it's your time to be Jakub Minchik, because that's how he beat Novak in the finals of Miami when Novak was playing arguably the best tennis of the year for him. Yes, Novak, his eye wasn't correct in that match, and maybe that had some impact, but he really struggled to get his racket on so many serves from Minchik, and Minchik dominated him. If Taylor can dominate in the serve department, that frees him up to be just even more aggressive in the return department.
Do you believe Taylor Fritz is ready to slay the dragon here?
I think he is, and the question is, how is Novak Djokovic physically? I mean, that's kind of what we've been looking at each match, and you have to play the person in front of you on the day. It doesn't matter what the head-to-head is coming into it, whether you haven't won in 10 meetings. I think today is a day that Fritz can bring these weapons into play. He's been a bit under the radar, Fritz. Maybe that helps him as well. Not as much pressure. He can go out and he can swing a little more freely. The serve will be huge. Can he mix the serve up enough to not be as predictable, to not have Novak Djokovic anticipate as he has done in their past matchups? There's a number of areas that I think Fritz would take heart from their previous matches, and why not today?
Chanda mentions the physical aspect of it. We've seen Djokovic with some sort of nagging injury in basically every match he's played this week. It was the neck in his last match. Do we have any lingering concerns there?
It's the question of what's coming next, right? We don't know, but what we do know is Novak loves to play at night. Why does he love to play at night? Because his defensive skills are so good and the conditions are slower. He doesn't have to worry about the sun in his ball toss. But Taylor Fritz has the type of power that can really get through some of this cooler night air. I wonder how that's going to, if the points get more and more physical because it's slower and slower, it'll be harder for Djokovic to finish points as well. Fritz's defense will look better tonight because the ball will not be traveling as quickly as it would in the daylight hours. So this was always going to be a night match anyway. Number one American versus Djokovic. I mean, it's got to be a night match for the fans. But I'm wondering if that oddly doesn't help Novak.
Yeah,
Fritz.
We were talking about Novak and his injury. He practiced yesterday. He was out hitting on Arthur Ashe Stadium court at around 6 p.m. under the lights. Went through a practice session actually with Ryan Harrison, a former U.S. pro. Taylor Fritz was out on the practice courts a little after 7. Both of these guys trying to get used to the conditions that Jim was talking about that are so different at night. But a good sign for Novak. We've seen him in past majors have to skip on his off days because he was hurt. To see him out there on the practice court last night, he looked fine.
We've talked so many times the last year and a half of what his last best chance might be to get that 25th major. Chanda, as the opportunities dwindle, sometimes we've heard from players, and I wonder what your experience is with this, that as you know you're nearing the end, even though you have more experience, your nerves actually get worse. Could that be the case? And did you feel that sort of in the December of your career?
Well, I think, for me, it was more with injuries and knowing there were fewer opportunities in front of me than behind, and that uncertainty. And I think as you get older, you just realize that part of it. And every chance, every moment is so much bigger, and you don't know when you may get back there. And so I think, maybe that's coming into play a little bit for Novak Djokovic. Certainly, he's talked about the focus on the majors. That's where he wants to bring his best tennis, and he understands so well how to put himself in place in these matches, these later matches of big tournaments. So I think that part, you can kind of offset it with his experience and how well he knows his body, his game, and how to contend with what's being thrown at him.
He's playing for history. That's why he's out here still. I mean, his last few tournaments, I'm just going to play Roland Garros, Wimbledon, and the U.S. Open. So as Chanda said, he knows how to manage himself through the majors, but it's all about these tournaments for him. He's not too worried about the regular tour stops. This is why he's out here. And if physically he's ready to go, we know he's a beast in these Grand Slams. Can he get to 25?
I'm in the bag for Novak. I love the guy and what he means to the game. I'd love to see him get 25. I know that's why he's here. I don't know what's happening here. Fritz could be a tough ask tonight, but then it's going to be Alcaraz most likely and probably Sinner. Whew, I don't like his chances.
Semifinals at the 3 previous majors this year, and it's always been Alcaraz or Sinner that has been the roadblock to stop him.